Hello, guys. It's Johnny time, and welcome to a new podcast, the Unaudited podcast. We auditors usually sit behind the keyboard, read and write smart contracts, find vulnerabilities, create POCs, create reports, but we also have personal life. Every one of us has personal lives, and this is your chance to see the behind the scene of the biggest auditors that are known in the space, the biggest Web3 security researchers. And this is the Web3 Unaudited podcast. And in today's show, we have here together Daniel and Owen from Guardian Audits. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Owen.
Hey,
How's it
John.
going, man? Glad to be here.
Great, great. It's gonna be so much fun today. We're gonna talk about so many interesting things, such as Web3 business, security auditing business, super cool stories, personal lives. So if you wondered like what Owen eats for lunch or if Daniel has a girlfriend, that's what we're gonna talk about. A lot of juicy stuff, like how our life looks behind the scenes, what we are busy here, and also super valuable tips and technical discussions where we will talk about the industry in general, about investments, about the auditing business. So it's going to be so much fun. But before we start, let's do a short introduction. So I will do the first one for myself. So I'm Johnny Time. You probably know me because this video is on my channel right now. So I'm educator in the blockchain security space, the creator of the smart contract hacking course. And I have 12 years of experience in cybersecurity and coding. And here we have Daniel, the founder of Guardian Audits. Daniel, can you make a short intro?
Yep. Hey, guys. I'm a co-founder and lead auditor at Guardian Audits. We started this thing roughly 2 years ago. I've been doing this with Owen. Before getting into Web3 security, I was in the TradeFi space, worked at a big broker-dealer in America on the institutional equities desk, handling lots of stock trades every single day, millions upon millions of shares every single day.
All right, cool. Yeah, Daniel's got a lot cooler background than me. I was just a regular software engineer, boring SaaS app, Python backend, and then we came into Web3. Daniel brings all the finance knowledge. He taught me everything I know about finance. And yeah, we've been running Guardian Audits for about 2 years now. And of course, my name is Owen.
Cool. So, yeah, I think a lot of people also know Owen mainly here because of his presence on Twitter and YouTube as well. If you didn't know Daniel also has super cool Twitter account, so make sure to follow him. The link will be in the description below, and reach out to him, talk to him. Yeah. So all right, so let's begin off. You both have like a diversified background. Daniel, you come from trading strategies and from trading background, and Owen comes from computer science background. Could you guys like tell me a bit of like how you met and how you started with Guardian Audits?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Daniel, you want to take it?
Yeah, so I mean, Owen and I met, it was pretty much love at first sight, if I do say so myself. We met at Northeastern University. That's the school we went to. And I knew Owen since freshman year, ever since orientation. We got along really well because both of us, really wanted to start our own business, entrepreneurial. We're both super motivated, determined, had a lot of grit to ourselves. So Guardian isn't our first businesses. One of the things Owen gifted me was a book with all our failed businesses before. A big book, a very big book. But we keep going. We're building our own DeFi protocol, which I'm sure we'll talk about. And after that, we got into Web3 security, and ever since then, we've been doing great. It's really a wonderful journey.
Yeah,
super
absolutely.
Cool. So you guys are entrepreneurs, you tried different businesses ideas, and eventually you landed into auditing, which is quite similar to where I came from, because I also have this entrepreneurial, I always make mistakes when I pronounce this word.
Yeah.
Vibe or mindset. And I also tried a lot of startup ideas from blockchain, crypto, algo trading in 2017 to automation on Instagram marketing and all kinds of streaming websites. And eventually I got into blockchain and blockchain security. So I guess we have like a similar background of like entrepreneurship mindset.
Yeah, how did you? It's funny you mentioned like Instagram automation or marketing automation. That's funny because one of Daniel and I's first businesses was like uh, exactly that. So I'm interested. What was the marketing automation?
Yeah, so it was around 2018 to 2019, and I worked with a friend that was my roommate actually in Tel Aviv, in Israel, and he was like master in traffic arbitrage and marketing. And we got this idea. Actually, we saw a very successful Israeli Instagram page that was all kinds of like funny videos and like celebrities and stuff, like the most like trash that you could ever find. But people like it,
That's what
mainly
worked.
kids. And there was a very special monetization strategy with this page where you post like valuable content, like posts, and once in a while you post a picture with an article, right?
Yeah,
So it could be like, you won't believe this snake ate this mouse, or like, this celebrity just punched the other celebrity, all kinds of like trash, like clickbait kind of stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then in the description, you would put a link, and every time it would lead to a different article. And then in this article, you have AdSense, Outbrain, Taboola, and obviously you get people are enjoying reading the articles and they click ads. There are a lot of impressions because you basically. So initially we bought Instagram accounts and then we tried to monetize them, and eventually it became an operation where we had like 200 SIM cards. We had an app called Jarvi, where we just
yep,
like raised and grow Instagram accounts in different niches. One was in cars, another one in weed, girls, like all kinds of niches. And we just it was like cool, very cool automation process. Some of it was like scripts that we wrote, some of it
Mhm.
was using Jarvi. And we had like 200 accounts where automatically posts were like scraped and being published, and we grew them. And then we would send the traffic to our website with monetization and PPC ads, and it didn't work. It
dude.
didn't work because Instagram just blocked all the accounts, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
We started with like
Yeah. We
what
had the
data
same
center
thing.
proxies, then the phone number. They have so many like ways. They have a department that all their goal is to block these fake accounts.
Yeah.
And you get into residential proxies, and we paid for proxies, and we just bought like 1,000 SIM cards, and we were have like these three phones, and we all the time like do this SMS verification. So if you deal with Instagram accounts automation, you probably went through the same thing.
Oh yeah,
dude,
you
that is,
basically described our entire story with the proxies, everything, trying to beat the Instagram bot. Like
dude,
literally
that is
one to one
that's
almost.
crazy.
That's wonderful.
We had the
It starts
same.
off very good. It starts off very good, but then all of a sudden it just doesn't work out, and then you have to
Yeah,
Exactly. It worked in the
kill it.
beginning. There was the settings of like follow and unfollow that you could do in Jarvi, where it scrapes like followers on one account and then does follow and follow. And then eventually you had to decrease. Eventually, even if you do like 2 follows a day, Instagram is instantly like detects that it's like a bot account and just
Yeah.
blocks the accounts permanently. So we just left it. It was too much effort. And we did also other like traffic arbitrage. So we bought traffic from Snapchat and had a website with articles and got money from AdSense and Taboola. So we always had like this entrepreneur like mindset.
yeah,
I went through different startup ideas. Most of them failed. There were some that succeeded, such as the crypto algo trading bot, which was amazing. It was my first like startup that actually like blew out. Like it was really a success. Um, yeah. What about you? What did you go through these years? Like what
yeah,
kind of
dude.
ideas did?
It's crazy. I love the growth hacking, like trying to fit these things together on like Instagram. 100%. Like that's like 100% our experience. What we did is, our first business was like a clothing brand, which is like, I mean, it's a good first business. Like you just see like, okay, I want to start a business, but I don't know any kind of business. Well, I wear clothes, so let's start a clothing brand. So what we did is we started a clothing brand. It was like impossible to get sales for your like shitty clothing brand. So what we did is we figured out like kind of like a growth hacking method on Instagram where you can basically go find other small clothing brands, look at their followers list, and then those are the people you want to basically market to. And so what you would do is you would go and we would manually a day go and like comment on like 200 of these people's pictures saying like,
Manually, or you had bots?
So first we did it manually because we were afraid of, the like Instagram bot stuff and stuff like that. So we just spent like hours commenting on people's photos. And then we made a Python script that like did it for us and like had random wait times. And then what we did is like, hey, this is actually useful for us. We were able to sell like 100 hoodies or something doing this and build up like 10,000 followers or something like this just with
Cool.
this. So we just put the script on AWS and we were like, hey, there's like thousands of these clothing brands. Let's sell them this script basically and let's make a web app for it and everything like that. And then we had to start dealing with the proxies and stuff like this. And then as soon as, thankfully, none of our customers' accounts got like banned or anything, but our clothing brand account got banned. And we we're like, all right, I don't want that to happen to any of our customers. I'm just going to shut it down. It's not worth battling Instagram. And, that was basically our first sort of thing. So very much similar to the growth thing.
I assume it was around 2019, 2020, because I remember this was the year that Instagram really fought those bots, and a lot of businesses that were based on Instagram automation and botting just died.
No, literally, it was right around there, and they basically flipped a switch, and then some of our account got banned, and we were like, all right, this is not a good idea.
Yeah, it makes sense. So what was your next initiative? So you always like work together on different like initiatives and startups, and somehow you got into auditing. So how did you get into auditing and blockchain?
Yeah, after we shut that business down, we were looking for anything to work on. I don't know, like we were in university at the time. We could have focused on classes and stuff like that, but I always just needed something to work on. Like something that I could actually like dig my hands into. And we tried so many things after that. We tried like a SaaS app front end builder where you could just like drag stuff and make it really easy to build a SAP app UI or something like that. And then we tried a ton of stuff until eventually I was like, you know what? I want to just be in a market that I know is going to be a good market. And no matter what, I get in there and I learn the market, we're going to be good in the next 10 years. So at that time, Web3 and crypto was like really taking off. So I was like, all right, here's a good market. I don't know anything about it. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm just going to go there. I'm going to learn what's up. And I'm sure I'm going to see some opportunities once we get in there. So got in, lost a ton of money in like DeFi and Ponzi's. And then
was around 2020, 2021. When was it?
So this was 2021. This is when Bitcoin first crashed from like 65,000 to like 30 in like a week or something like this. That's when I was like, whoa, what is this? That seems like a good opportunity. Bitcoin just like halved basically. Buy. Yeah. So we got in, that's when we got interested, started getting into DeFi. And then over the period of the next year and a half or something, lost a ton of money. A lot of money for me at the time. But and then we built our DeFi protocol, went through that process, ended up getting an audit, realized that audits really sucked at the time. And so you're like, hey, let's solve this problem, right? And then 2 years later, that's basically where we are now.
Cool. And I also heard that you have an interesting story about minimum finance, like the DeFi project that you created. Daniel, do you want to tell the sexy story about minimum finance?
Yeah, so minimum finance was like beefy finance, but specifically for rebase tokens. So the tokens like Olympus, Spartacus, Phantom. So with the rebasing tokens, you could choose between staking or bonding, and people would have to switch between the two to get the most optimal yield. So we would just do that for you automatically. We were optimizing your yield. So like Owen mentioned, we build this thing out. We spent weeks building it out, and we need to get an audit. Before you ship a Web3 protocol, you have to get an audit. That's a prereq, right? So we gathered up, as much money as we can. That was the most expensive thing we ever bought for any business, right? We always built an MVP, got people on the wait list. They would give some money, and then that would be used to build the product, right? We try to build all our businesses for free.
How much did you pay for this audit, by the way? How much did you pay? Do you remember?
Also around 10 grand or something on.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it wasn't like a Open Zeppelin like
Yeah, it
100
wasn't
grand or
like an
anything,
open Zeppelin or something.
but it was a lot of money for us, right?
Yeah, at
I
Yeah.
that
feel like
time, very sizable amount. It was the most expensive thing we ever really bought for our business, out of pocket. So we bought that. You know, week go by, another week go by. We finally get an audit report back. Oh, everything's great. Just a bunch of low issues, informational issues. We think we're good to go. Let's deploy. So we
Yeah.
deploy. We get tens of thousands of TVL really quickly. And then, this is awesome. Like, we think we're killing it. We're crushing it. We're going to keep developing this thing, adding more protocols, more integrations. Then a few days go by. I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, wait, I think there's a bug. I call Owen and we're like, I think there's a bug. Turns out there was a bug, which could lead to your funds being stuck in the vault. And Owen and I hopped on the Zoom call and just had to force rescue everyone's funds. And, that was a really big wake up call. How easy it is to miss a bug. We had a good amount of test coverage, and still the pesky bug went through. So
Wow. But no
ever
one
since,
exploded it, I assume.
no one
You
exploited. No one
guys
exploited.
were
We
able to
rescued.
rescue the funds.
Yeah, we rescued everyone's funds. No one lost their money. So ever since then, we were kind of like, okay, there's something really wrong here. So we dished out, a bunch of money, at least for us, for this report. They didn't find a single thing, and we thought we were good to go. So we could see that we could see what we wanted to have at that point, right? So that's exactly what Guardian was. We wish we could do a paper vulnerability audit. We wish we only paid you if you actually found stuff, because we ended up dishing out a lot of money and you didn't even find the bug that caused a bunch of panic for us, right? So that's exactly why we built Guardian Audits. It's what we would have wanted to have at that point in time.
So the light bulb moment was exactly when you figured out the bug, or it was a bit later? About like,
Yeah.
okay, we need to build something like this.
Yeah, I think it was through. I mean, that's really what we just like dove in and decided to start building stuff in the first place, is just to be able to see what are the opportunities in the space, right? And I didn't even think that this DeFi protocol is necessarily like the greatest idea at the time. Obviously, I mean, in retrospect, building a optimizer vault for rebase tokens is like not a good idea. This is what the chart for rebase tokens looks like.
Yeah, it was the time where everyone talked about Wondle and Time and Daniel.
Yeah,
There was
Exactly.
we were
it was
going
like very
crazy.
sexy back then. But then it collapsed. All the Ponzi collapsed.
Yeah. So like I think the number one motivation for building that protocol was just to first of all learn and then be able to see the opportunities in the space. And then I think when we had that experience, we're like, this is a great opportunity. We need to solve this problem. And so yeah, over the course of that whole experience, that's when we basically said, okay, we're gonna go after this.
Yeah, cool. And then you started Guardian Audits. And I listened to your video, if you guys want to listen and learn how Owens and Daniel started with Guardian Audits, like they literally offered like free audits, almost free audits, or like the paper vulnerability model. Owen has great videos on his channel of tips how to get started and get recognition and provide value to protocols to get your name out there, because we know that initially it's like very hard. There is a lot of demand, and it's like very rare skill, to audit smart contracts and find bugs. But still, there is also, on the other hand, a lot of competition, and you have to stand out, because there are auditing firms, there are like contest platforms, and more coming up. We have the private auditors, so there is also a supply, and you always need to stand out. So definitely follow Owen channel for the tips of how to stand out and how he started his auditing business, because he shares a lot of awesome tips there. We won't repeat them here because this content already created and is on your channel. Beautiful. So let's talk, before we dive into like Web3 security, let's talk about like Web3 in general. Currently, we don't have mass adoption, right? We cannot like go to the supermarket and pay with stable coins or Ether or Bitcoin like we do pay with Apple Pay or Google Pay. And so what are your thoughts around it? Do we gonna get mass adoption? Where do we stand?
Yeah, absolutely. I think while, of course, if you look at the price chart, things don't look great right now if you're just looking on that. But I think a lot of people from the outside are discounting and they're not really looking into, maybe they're not aware, is stuff is still being built here, and it's being built at, I would argue, like an even more rapid pace than 2 years ago when price was sky high. Stuff is being built, and I'm really bullish on some of the stuff that I've seen come out. Specifically, I don't know if you guys saw the Farcaster. There was some tweet that had a ton of impressions that was basically they built, I don't know exactly what it was that they built, but they have basically a way to authenticate, and then with like Apple keychain or something like this, just handle, completely abstract away the
With account
using.
observation, right?
I think so. I don't know. I don't know the implementations of it, but I know that they accomplished a user being able to use an on-chain wallet and deposit funds into it and whatever they do with their application without them having to, back up a seed phrase, know what the hell is going on under the hood, and have to deal with blockchain tech. I think that's the first sign of something that is a prerequisite to hitting mass adoption. And the fact that we're seeing that, honestly, I'm surprised that it took this long to get something like that. But now that we have that, and I think they've sort of created a way for other folks to use that in their application, sort of like a framework to do this. Now that we have that, I think the floodgates are going to be open. I think we're going to see a lot more of this in the coming future. And that's honestly, for me, I think that's the key for mass adoption is mobile apps, desktop apps, but especially mobile apps, since how many billions of people have iPhones and phones across the world. Mobile apps that just allow you to use the blockchain seamlessly without you even needing to know what you're doing, right? I think that's going to be the killer app that hopefully we'll see in the next couple of years.
Definitely. So yeah, I heard something similar with Bravos. Bravos is a wallet for Starknet, and they have something similar because when you use account abstraction, your wallet account is actually a smart contract. And also they have a way to integrate with the chip inside Apple Pay. Inside the phone, there is like a very secure chip that is responsible for, for like basically approving transactions when you use your credit cards. And the same works in Google Pay, and they're able to integrate with it. So instead of signing transactions, you basically can just sign them with your Face ID. So like with double click when you are paying. So instead of putting password stuff, and it also makes it much more secure because having the private key itself is not enough to steal your funds. You already need the safe ID. You need the phone to validate it. So it's like very secure, very user friendly, and this might lead us to mass adoption. Daniel, what do you think about it? Like, what do you need to get mass adoption?
Yeah, definitely. I think another barrier to mass adoption is the fact that we need more Web3 builders, right? We need more people building cool stuff, useful stuff. I hear a lot of things like crypto's BS, but Web3 is cool, right? Most crypto projects are not going to survive. They don't offer any utility, right? Most people aren't incentivized to onboard onto Web3 because these projects just don't offer enough utility for them. People don't need, to take on smart contract risk for a minimal yield. We have really high rates on T-bills right now. That's not needed. So I think definitely more Web3 builders building cool applications that people can actually utilize properly. Another thing is more Web3 security researchers, right? That's a prereq for deploying your Web3 app. So more builders and more security researchers. I think that's another big barrier for adoption.
Yeah, you mentioned like that most of the apps don't really have utility, and that's actually true. A lot of them are Ponzi's, and it's like I like what Taiki Mandea says. He has like a cool YouTube channel about DeFi that is like peer-to-peer, like PvP game. Like you fight against each other. Who buys the token first and who sells, like musical chairs game, to not be left with the tokens that worth nothing eventually. But there are projects that are bringing like actual utilities, such as Make a DAO, for example. Make a DAO and DAI. So a lot of the DAI collateral is actually in USDT and USDC. And Maker are buying the governance of Maker DAO. They're buying T-bills, treasury bills, and they get yields on them. And then using the yield from these treasury bills, they buy back Maker from the market, the Maker token, and burn it. So, which is very, very cool. And Taiki talks about it on his channel. So it's super interesting. And they're bringing like, the governance yield to on-chain yield, like real yield, And Kanto is another project that is doing something similar. So the more we have projects like this with utility, and instead of like PvP, more like PvE, player versus environment, I think also there is more utility and more mass adoptions. Because if you can just buy maker token and you know that it's deflationary because the T-bills revenue is used to buy back maker and burn them, then it's cool. The maker token gonna raise up. There is utility. The capital is being utilized. So this is another thing that will lead to mass adoption in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Dan, do you have because he's worked around some people in the traditional finance world, so you get to see what their thoughts are of the DeFi ecosystem. What are people in the TradeFi world thinking, and what do they see blockchain as
And big
useful
banks, they think it's BS, right? Because like I said, a lot of these projects just don't offer the proper utility. I think blockchain technology is very useful and has a lot of merits. I just don't think right now it's being utilized for the right things. Because, we don't, certain things should be off chain. Certain things just work better off chain, right? But there are certain kind of applications, like for example, house titles, for example. People have had their houses stolen because of house titles forgery. That's a good application for blockchain tech because it's a transparent, glorified spreadsheet. That's what it is. You need that transparency there. So I think there are certain applications that, we're kind of just waiting to explore. And once we do, we're going to see a lot of improvement.
Definitely, I agree. And so let's, hold strong before the upcoming bull market. We don't know what will be the thing that starts the bull market because this is above us, but eventually it's gonna come. And yeah, so the thing with blockchain companies that some of them are like funded with venture capital with VCs, and some of them are bootstrap. What do you guys prefer? Like to get funded or bootstrap? Now we do like service companies, like because we provide service and auditing, so we don't really need funding or courses. We mainly just need to spend our time to get capital. But what's your thought around that?
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of like it's almost like a personal a personal preference or something, depending on the entrepreneurs. Like there's a whole strata of people who they're in like that fundraised VC tech startup world, and then there's like a whole other world of business, which is like the people who are bootstrapped. They're doing cash flow businesses and like service based businesses like we are, or like info products or something like that. And like I've always found that, or at least for myself, I've always preferred that bootstrapped sort of way of approaching business, especially in the beginning, just because you want to figure out if an idea is really going to work. Now, some ideas, they do need to raise capital to be able to work, but those tend to be like the moonshot businesses. In my opinion, I'd rather have like an 80% chance of success at maybe something that's not going to be $1 billion company, versus something that has like a 1% chance of success. But if it does hit, it's going to be $1 billion company, a $10 billion company, or something like that. Maybe later in my career, when I get more entrepreneurial experience, I've got more businesses that I've actually worked under my belt, then maybe we'll go into the more like moonshot businesses. But personally, my approach has always been like, okay, we want to start out, we want to do cash flow businesses where we can sort of just like cut our teeth and get really good at, sales, marketing, employing people, building a team, the basic stuff in a low risk environment where I'm not taking millions of dollars of other people's money and then stewarding that myself. And then if I lose all their money, then like I'm going to not be able to sleep right for the next 5 years or something like that. But, cutting my teeth on the service-based sort of area, bootstrap type businesses. And then later on, in my opinion, if you do that right and you cash flow up to a significant amount, then you can start those moonshot businesses and you can fund it yourself. And then you can own a much larger percentage of that moonshot business. And in my opinion, I mean, obviously I haven't done this, so I'm kind of like speaking out of my ass here, but but that way you'll be able to first of all, you're not going to have VCs telling you what to do and like speeding you up to, you know, grow faster and faster when it might not be the best thing. Second of all, you're just going to own more of the company, so perhaps in the grand scheme you're going to make a lot more doing that. So that's just my personal approach.
Yeah, and usually people say also that when you raise capital, it's like you're still being employed by your investors. So it's
Yeah.
not like really entrepreneurship. Like, okay, it does. You work much harder because now you have a startup, but you're still like having someone that is supervising you and telling you what to do. And it's a very interesting approach. And yeah, all my startups, I never raised money. Maybe it's a mistake. I don't know, but I'm kind of like similar. All of them were bootstrap. Now, talking about bootstrap businesses, let's talk a bit about the auditing and Web3 security business. So you guys build up Guardian Audits and you grind a lot. So can you tell me a bit about how much you grind?
Yeah, I
What do you
mean,
do? Like, do audits all day? Do you do sales calls, marketing? Like, what's your, how does your day look like?
it's a little bit of everything. So, I mean, it obviously depends on the day to day, but I would say, you know, sometimes it's even annoying. I would want to like focus 100% on doing audits, but there's all these other things that come in terms of running a business. You know, you got to keep up with all the clients. Maybe sometimes there's like 3 or 4 teams that you're working with and you're in different points in time in the audit. You know, so you're doing remediations for one team, you're just getting things kicked off for another team. Another team is talking about, you know, booking out in the calendar and stuff like this. So managing that side of things, that honestly, it might not take up that much time sending the actual messages and, you know, talking to people, but it, at least for me, it takes up a lot of headspace just managing like all these different,
Tension.
like, yeah, just open sockets, you know, just got a lot of connections. So there's that side of things. And then of course there's making content and creating YouTube videos. And I think that that kind of stuff is not immediately, you don't immediately see the results of that, but it's my opinion that over the next, you know, 2-3 years, if we keep pumping those out and we keep doing the best job that we can at just spreading everything that we know, then we're going to see a compounding effect of, okay, now we've helped thousands of security researchers on board into the space. And hopefully we see, you know, a huge boost from that in, you know, Guardian audits or anything we want to do after that. And yeah, and then of course there's the auditing aspect, which is what we actually do, right? So yeah, sometimes I wish I was like an auditor at Open Zeppelin, so, or you know, one of these big firms, so that I could just do that. But I
You
also do
definitely
find,
don't like all the management and the other stuff. You prefer to do just a technical job. Do you
yeah,
agree? Do you feel the same, Daniel, by the way?
Yeah. I mean,
Or you like
you know,
more the management and
I like more of the technicals personally. You know, when
technicals?
you run
So
a
you
business,
guys need a CEO. You guys need to bring a CEO on board that will do all the, I don't know, COO, CEO, whatever you name it, but someone to do that for you.
yeah, and I think an interesting point about the auditing business in general is, and obviously this could be just a misconception, right? This is my view from my experience and what I perceive of the world, but I think auditing in general as a service is it's a fantastic way to go from 0 to 1. So it's a complex service. As long as you're good at it, you're going to be in demand and you can start up a business. You can pretty easily get clients, at least in the market today, if you've got a decent track record behind you. But then taking that service from doing like, uh, you know, working yourself to having a team and really trying to scale that thing, it's not a replicable service, right? Everything is one off, unique. This one's a lending protocol. This one's a perpetuals protocol. It's not like you can't build a system around it and then have it be like, you know, this is what we do. This is step 1. This is step 2, step 3, and boom, you're done. You just copy paste. It is a very unique, bespoke service for everything that you do. And so I say that to say, like, I think it's a great opportunity to go from 0 to 1, but these big firms, as they scale, I just think there's not really any benefit you get from having scale, right? You just have to bring in more security researchers, and the overhead of HR and,
marketing, also getting more clients.
sales guys, you don't really glean any benefit from having this scale. You just have, more independent security researchers working under a bigger name. And yeah, so from my point of view, it seems like the next step isn't, at least for us, like, maybe we don't want to go to be a big firm. We want to stay small and still, just keep a really small, tight knit group of really highly specialized security researchers, and just be really picky about who we work with. And then perhaps we'll see an opportunity. I think there is an opportunity for building a more scalable type business where you could actually train security researchers or something like this that we'll be coming out with hopefully soon.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people said it also on my channel, on the podcast, that they struggle with scaling because it's a service company, right? So that's why you see also a lot of companies like big firms are going for products, such as Cypherin with Code Hawks. And we have also like Open Zeppelin with Defender, and Hexsense are now working on Remedy. So we have a lot of like auditing firms, very known firms or figures in the space that just decided to go and build products.
Yeah, I think everyone's just trying to get more leverage, right? What's the leverage in these service-based businesses? You kind of just got to get more people, right, to do more of the audits, free up some of your time. But then it gets kind of hard because how do you incentivize someone to care as much as you do, right, about the audit and your Guardian's reputation? So products definitely offer more leverage. It's easier to scale.
Yeah, there's also that downside of with every audit you do, you're putting out more risk surface area onto the blockchain, into the public. And like if you scale that up, you just increase the rate at which you're putting out risk surface area. And so like that's not really a flywheel that you want working in your against you, right? So there are a number of problems I see taking an audit firm from 1 to 10, but I think 0 to 1, it's an amazing opportunity for new folks coming into the space.
Talking about new folks, so would you recommend new folks coming into the space, like beginners, completely beginners that are watching this podcast right now?
Absolutely. I think if you are looking to, maybe you want to be a freelancer, you want to be a solo auditor, I think there's a tremendous opportunity for you to come in and do that just because of the nature of the service, the fact that, hey, these service-based companies, these auditing firms, it might not be the greatest way to solve the problem. They are one solution, but I think a solo auditor is still very much needed in the security pipeline. And so you're solving a really huge problem in a great way. You've got, service market fit, just being a solo auditor. And, I think people say the competition is increasing right now, but honestly, if you get in now and you just do it for 1 year, you're going to be amongst the top folks in the space if you just stick with it in 1 year. And then after you get over that hump, you're going to have all the opportunity. Like you're going to be turning folks down left and right to work with. So I think the opportunity is very much here. Folks just you've got to stick through the first year. Like I said, we did free audits. We did audits with like no money down. We did audits with very little down. And then after the first year, you start to hit this parabolic curve. So absolutely, I think there's a huge opportunity. You just got to get in and do the work.
Definitely agree with you. And what should they do? Okay, let's say there is someone beginner that is just getting started and want to maybe build a brand for himself or get better at auditing. What would you suggest them to do? Daniel, Owen, let's start with Owen. Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, I would say get around somebody else who's ahead of you, or at least has like a different knowledge set than you do. So for example, at least when I was getting in, I didn't know the finance stuff, right? I didn't know a short from a long, right? So Daniel was really key in me being able to index all this stuff and, being able to understand it myself. So I would say, first of all, just get around somebody who knows this stuff. And if you can, do an audit with them, learn from them, everything like that. And then in terms of building up your brand and actually getting inbound, it's just a matter of doing work and then showcasing that work on Twitter and and Discord, hopefully get on the leaderboard or stuff like this.
Definitely. What would be your tip, Daniel?
So first off, if we just backtrack, I think first you have to gain a good understanding of Solidity. That's the first thing. You have to definitely be able to read the code. The next step is just what are you interested in? So you're interested in DeFi, you have to explore DeFi concepts. How do you do that? You look at compound code, you look at beefy code, right? We weren't born knowing about yield optimizers, right? We had to actually go in, look at the code, read the code, understand what it's doing. So definitely learn Solidity, gain the mastery of the language, and then what are you interested in? Go explore that. Projects-based learning is the best learning. You learn by doing, not just by reading.
Definitely. Learn by doing so. And I will add on top of that, not just read the code, but try to write your code. So try to interact with those protocols. Go to the on-chain smart contracts, see how they look, see the functions. Maybe do a fork to your local machine and try to interact with those protocols. Try to build something. Definitely learn by doing and grow from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And to add to that, I think the course that you put out is a way to just fast track that, right? You get all the knowledge literally laid out for you and all the assignments and stuff like that. I think that's fantastic. And then we're going to be coming out with a course of our own for, some of the stuff that we did with the accelerator that we recently did. But I think courses like this, stuff like this, is fantastic for just jumping ahead. And Patrick Collins, he's coming out with a course as well. So I think I'm really bullish on just having these resources available to folks for them to skip that curve, right?
Definitely. These days, there are so many resources and things that are available, also structured courses like my course or something that you're going to put out or Patrick. So really, there is a lot of things. Sometimes it's hard to navigate through all the resources. Just pick one and stick to it. But the most important, in my opinion, is really practice, because I'm coming from education. I'm doing education for many, many years. And the approach that I see that works the best is not only listening to someone or reading through contracts, but actually writing code and finding vulnerabilities and writing POCs and writing reports. So it's the best way.
Yeah, and you had what was it, a dozen years in education? How did you come into that? I'm actually more interested in what was your experience educating?
Yeah, so the first class that I gave to the first time that I was a teacher was actually in the military, in the IDF. I was a graduate of the first cybersecurity defenders course. It's a 3 months, very intensive course where you study every day from 8 in the morning to 8 in the evening, like cybersecurity from ground zero. And then I decided to stay as a teacher and commander in the course. So I was teaching Python development, web application hacking, Windows hacking and Windows internals and Linux and all these kind of cool things. And this is the first time that I actually stand in front of the class, in front of students and public speaking. And I learned it in the military. And I did it for a while. Then I did it after I finished my service. Between the startups, I used to go to, there is also private colleges in Israel. It's not like a college, but just, courses, crash courses. And I used to teach there as well. So this is what I did in the army, but actually getting paid,
Yeah. So after, obviously years and years of teaching folks advanced topics related to cybersecurity, do you have any specific takeaways of this is exactly how you teach somebody, anything like tricks, or how would you try to get them to learn? Obviously, what's the hack for downloading your knowledge into somebody else's brain?
That's a very good question, and we can talk about it for hours, because I studied how to teach. In the military, they sent us literally for 1.5 month course of how to deliver knowledge to someone, from the smallest things, the way you speak, the way your hands move, the way you, it's more for physical teaching in a class, because you have a lot of things, the way you stand, the way you walk, the way you look in the eyes of the people, but it's a bit different when you teach online. But I would say that the two most important things for me is first of all that you're very sure about what you're talking about. You really like when you teach something, you really need to be certain and confident about what you're teaching. That's first. The second one is excitement. You need to be excited about something you're talking about, because if I will talk about smart contracts like this, like, so here we have a function, and in this function we send an address and an integer. That's not going to work. No one is going to listen to me. But if I'm going to say, so this is a function that receives an integer and an address, and this function is the most important in the smart contract. It comes from my excitement, but then I use like words like most important, and the voice is being changed. So excitement is one of the most important things when you teach something. You should be engaged, right? And it's I think also they teach it on sales. Like, you can sell this cup to people, and you can just say, yeah, this is a cup that is like you can drink with it, or like this is such a cool cup. It's transparent and it's like gray at the same time, and when you hold it here through this handle, your hand is not gonna burn with the hot tea. It's like it works for everything, for every public speaking. So this is like a way to deliver any knowledge. And another thing with technical knowledge is also to show a lot of demos, like to really show them, like not only the theoretical. So you can talk about fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens, which is very abstract thing. But when you actually show them, okay, here is the Etherscan website. Here you can see the tokens. Here is the smart contract. When you send tokens, you actually trigger this transfer function. You bring it more to life, these ideas. So a lot of demos is another thing that I like to use. And there are plenty more. This is just the tip of the iceberg, because I teach in private colleges. Then I relocated to Singapore to train the military there, cybersecurity. And I saw the cool thing that I learned about Singapore is that it was like, really, it was 30% like lectures and public speaking and 70% exercises. So the students, they come to the class, they have like 2 hours of lecture and then 8 hours where you just sit and write code and hack systems and work with VMs. So that's where I always had like the learn by doing method, but when it was extreme, and I was like shocked by how good I learned that way. They were just like hacking stuff and getting really good in a really short time. So I tried to use all this experience and everything that I saw to create the best training program available in blockchain security.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one thing that I'm probably going to work on, is having more like energy and excitement in my videos. I'm not like a hugely energetic person, so that's definitely a great tip. I'm probably going to focus on with more videos.
Definitely. We can have another conversation where we talk about like public speaking and teaching, because there are a lot of like nuances where you can deliver your content in a better way, and it's eventually going to help the guy who watches, or girl, to consume it better. Yeah, and enjoy also the process.
100%.
Cool. Now let's talk a bit about personal lives. First, I want to ask the very simple question: do you guys have a girlfriend?
I do.
Or a boyfriend? No, that's also okay, right? We're a liberal these days. So, no judgment.
Yeah, Daniel's got a girlfriend of like, has it been like 5 years now?
It's been 5 years.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, wow. I've got nobody. I've got myself in my apartment.
Well, you got me, man. What you mean?
Yeah, I got Daniel. Daniel's my boyfriend. There you go.
Yeah, that's cool. So what does your girlfriend do, Daniel? Is she also in blockchain, or?
No, she's in medical school right now. She's studying to become a doctor. So she's doing that. She's a long, hard road ahead of her,
Wow. Doctor. That's cool. Yeah. So I also have a girlfriend. We're dating for like 2 years, almost, something like that. Yeah. And she's actually helping me with content creation and marketing, which is cool.
Awesome. Nice, dude. I gotta get someone to help me then.
Yeah, she's much better than me, with all the posts, and like she has like she's
Yeah.
native English speaker. So yeah, definitely helping me a lot. What about hobbies? So what do you guys do apart from like eating code and doing business calls?
Yeah, I think not much, to be honest. I go to the gym and then I come back and I read more code, do more calls, make more videos.
Yeah,
Okay,
pretty
so
much.
we have like a Web3 gym gang. We already like posted some videos. Patrick posted, I posted, Pashov and other auditors. It's cool that all of us. Maybe do you think it's like related? In order to do smart contracts, you need to go to the gym. It helps.
I think it definitely instills at least. I mean, there are plenty of smart contract auditors who are way, way better than I am that don't go to the gym. So, I mean, obviously it's not a prerequisite, but I think it's just something that instills like a sense of work ethic. I think above all, probably just consistency, right? Because that's really what the gym is doing something consistently. And I think consistency is probably the most underrated skill that you can have. I think the only thing you need to be successful at literally anything is time and doing that thing consistently.
Consistent and persistent, not to
Yeah,
jump from one thing to another. Be
yeah,
focused.
absolutely. And I think so. Anybody you see that has gone to the gym for multiple years, like that's consistency. That's really all it is. Is like you do this thing, you get into a groove, and now you just do it 4 or 5 days a week, and you've done that for 6 years, and that's just who you are, and that kind of bleeds into everything else that you do. At least that's how it is for me.
Yeah, 100% agree. What about you, Daniel? How do you spend
Yeah,
your time, your free time?
I used to go to the gym a lot. I was a big gym head. Rich Piano was my idol. I think it was so was Owens. But we're so busy right now that I just have a pull bar. I bought a pull bar. I bought some dumbbells, so I just work out here. Sometimes when my buddy's in town, I hit pads because he's a kickboxer. So that's usually fun.
Cool.
But then after that, just going back and reading code, grinding every single day.
Grinding, yeah. So I started boxing recently. It's actually fun. I took like 5 classes and then that's it. I'm
Great
like here
cardio.
in Ukraine.
It's great cardio.
Yeah, it's great cardio. I also go to the gym, and for me, the great cardio is actually dancing. I'm a dancer. I don't know if you guys knew.
Dude,
No,
that's sick.
like,
What kind of is it like salsa or what kind of dance style?
Yeah, salsa and bachata, and I also used to be a salsa instructor. Actually, I'm still am. I'm
Oh,
still.
nice. Dude,
It,
this guy teaches everything, man.
man, he's teaching everything, man. Leave some jobs for us. Come on.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, but it doesn't pay your bills. So being salsa instructor, it just you mostly do it for the fun, and also you get like those VIP access to all the clubs and parties, and you get like free drinks. So it's like it's cool. It's fun. Yeah, and it
So,
used to get me girls also, but now I have a girlfriend. So,
yeah.
but I mean, now we are doing actually classes like together sometimes. So we go to yeah, it's
Is that
super
how you
cool.
guys the
Yeah,
salsa
yeah.
dancing roots?
We met in bachata, which
Nice.
is these days more like popular than salsa. It's like a more like sensual dance. I don't know if you guys heard about it or you have it in America. Probably you do.
Yeah, I don't, dude. I don't know anything about dancing. I cannot dance whatsoever. Like, if you could imagine, like
Consistency and persistency, Owen. You can.
that's that's right. I am a few years away from being able to dance. How about
Number
that?
one dancer.
That's yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool cardio. It's a very nice activity. It's like it's also social gathering because
Yeah.
you meet a lot of people, you dance with people. It's very nice. And the cool thing about dancing is that people who dance for a while, you see that they don't age, which is like they age less. So I guess it's related to dancing. I always thought about it. You see people that are 40 years old, and they look like 30. I don't know if it's genetics or also because like they dance a lot and like I don't know. Someone
I
should
guess that's
do
why
research about it.
That's
that's why I
interesting.
look like I'm
Brian Johnson, the
27.
guy that tries to extend his life. He's
Yeah,
Sorry?
following the
Brian.
Blueprint protocol. He should maybe start dancing. You should add that to the Blueprint protocol.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that's my main. I have other hobbies as well. Obviously, like I like to go to the nature and meditate and like meet friends, of course, and movies. But I would say that the main hobby is like dancing. I used to play soccer as well. What about you guys? Did you do any other sports apart for kickboxing, soccer or basketball?
Yeah, I used to play basketball. I did like the AAU like travel team stuff in high school, and then in college just got really busy. I'm actually, I guess, Daniel, what sports did you play?
I played varsity lacrosse in high school, and I also played
Oh,
soccer.
I didn't know that actually. I didn't know.
Yeah, I have my stick somewhere over there.
That's crazy.
Lacrosse and tennis.
I didn't know they played lacrosse in New York. I thought that was like a like northern thing.
Nah, it's all around, Mr.
That's
Worldwide.
crazy, man. I'm interested. Like Johnny, do you? For me, at least, it seems like there's like seasons to life, and I guess right now in the season that Dan and I are in right now, obviously we're just absolutely grinding. We don't have any other hobbies really, other than coding, sales calls, maybe going to the gym. Dan doesn't even go to the gym anymore. Uh, but like, what kind of seasons do you think you've had in your life? Like, obviously, you had the teaching season, and then getting into Web3. Do you think there's some merit to saying like, okay, for the next 3 years, I'm just going to be heads down grinding, and then maybe coming out of that, and then having like a more laid back lifestyle? Like, what are your thoughts on that? I guess like overall life strategy. What's your take on that?
It's a very good question. And for me, I don't have really much seasons. I never really like took a vacation or a break. I have friends that they go to Thailand for 3 months or to South America, but I never done that. For me, I like to combine like work with hobbies and lifestyle. That's how it worked for me all the time.
Yeah,
And I'm also a bit of workaholic, so I cannot imagine myself like enjoying like few months in South America and Mexico or something, just going to the beach and eating coconut. But I do like to combine like my lifestyle, like work and pleasure. So I I I like doing massages, I like dancing, and I really like working. And because I'm entrepreneur, it's very flexible. I can
Mhm.
allow it itself because I can just literally open my laptop anywhere, anytime, and do some work done. If it's like content creation or auditing, and this is something that is very cool these days, especially in Web3, which allows that a lot. A lot of Web3 companies are also flexible, especially if you're an entrepreneur. So that's for me. What about you guys? Did you get like a break sometime of like, after college or?
yeah. I think right now, at least personally, I think, I mean, we're still, I mean, I don't know crap about life. I'm still pretty young, but uh, we're in a season right now of just working, from when we wake up until we go to bed. And I think of, work life balances, and I'm going to work now, and then my balance is going to be later. I'm going to work a lot less. But now is all about the work. And then perhaps after I hit like 25 or something like this, I think then maybe we'll probably take, a much more balanced approach. And then maybe it's not like so put the pedal to the metal, try to push it as far as we can go. But that's just been my approach. And we'll see how it works out.
So how do you put your threshold? Like age, money, income, net worth? Like you said like 25.
Yeah, I think honestly just pushing it and seeing as far as we can get by 25. So that'll be another 3 years, 22 right now. So 3 years, see how far we can get. Hopefully that would be, once we get to 25, that's something that's like, okay, well now money doesn't really matter anymore. And then I can focus on literally whatever I want to build from now on. And I can do that a lot more balanced and build a lifestyle around that. But I think probably just pushing it regardless of whatever happens until 25.
That's interesting. By the way, how old are you right now? Because I think people don't know. I was surprised when I heard.
Yeah, I'm 22. Dan's also 22, is a few months older than me. I just turned 22 in August.
Oh, you guys are so young. Literally just finished college and killing it. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing about the spaces. it's open for anybody to jump in and grab the opportunity, right? So extremely grateful that we ended up here.
Yeah, I'm a bit older than you. I'm 29, but still considered young. I think for I don't know. In the
Yeah,
space, I think a lot of people are young.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Like, I mean, I'm not even like there are kids who are like 16, like Chris. He's like,
Yeah,
what is he
Chris.
like 15, 16? Freaking, that's insane, dude. And we did an audit with him.
He's a very
He's
good.
awesome.
and he's
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, shout out to Chris.
Chris.
Cool. So you guys, what do you do with all the cash? Because you're killing it. Okay, you have good clients. You have like very nice business. So how like obviously because we're in blockchain, crypto, and Daniel, you come from like finance background. We know that if we hold cash, we're basically prone to inflation and we are losing money every day. And also recently there are all those risks with bank collapses like Silicon Valley Bank and then other banks that are following. So what do you guys think about this whole, this is for Daniel because you're more like the investment guy here with more
Yep.
knowledge than us. How do you guys survive bank collapses and inflation?
Usually, I just take the cash out and put it under my carpet where no one can touch it. I'm kidding.
Inflation and that statue doesn't matter where it is, right?
Yeah,
There-
yeah.
There's different ways to protect yourself, right? So, for a bank collapse, FDIC insurance up to $250,000 is insured. You could protect yourself that way. Another thing is just buying assets that keep up with inflation. So T-bills right now, stuff like that. Buying other assets, buy crypto. ETH is deflationary. Buy Bitcoin, buy ETH.
Not anymore,
Financial.
by the way. I mean, it used to be, but there is this website. I don't remember its name, but you can see when it's inflationary and
Mhm.
deflationary. And now because of like a lot of activities on layer twos, and also there is not that much activities. So there is period of time when it's inflationary and deflationary.
Yeah,
Just a small note.
but definitely just asset diversification is important. Buy some Bitcoin, buy some ETH. Personally, I believe this space will grow in the next 10 years. So I don't really care about the price right now, right? I think no matter at what price I buy right now, whether it's right now, whether it's a month from now, whether it's 3 months from now, I think the price 10 years from now will be higher. So I come in with that kind of mind framework, like a very long-term view. Not financial advice, do your own research.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So I hold the same like thought around investing. I do have asset diversification is like rule number one. So try to have as many assets as possible. If it's like cash, crypto, bonds, stocks, like EDFs, all kinds of things. Diversify. Real estate, which I don't have at the moment, unfortunately, but I was always scared with real estate. I don't know why. Yeah. What about you, Owen?
Dude, Daniel just manages my money for me. Like I don't, dude. I don't pay attention to price or anything like that. Like we're mostly in cash for the vast majority right now, just as runway. And there's stuff we should be doing with that, probably putting it in like T-bills or whatever. But yeah, we're mostly in cash right now.
For what reason? For like because you don't have time to manage it, or you don't want the risk of T-bills or crypto? Why do you decide to stay on cash?
Yeah, first of all, just just because a lack of mental space to think about it. Second of all, just for like we know where we're set. Like we have that comfortability. Like okay, we can do whatever we want to do and whatever we need to do, and we don't have to think about it. Just having that absolute security, and that enables us to make moves. Right, we can at any given time, opportunity comes up, we can go after it. Right, we don't have to think twice about,
Yeah, liquid.
oh, yeah, yeah. So there's that aspect to it. And then, of course, like right now, everything's really uncertain whether or not we're going to go into a recession, whether or not the Fed might start lowering rates soon, or, what's going to happen with that.
Inflation,
So,
recession, World War III, COVID. Everything is a
yeah,
mess.
yeah. So, yeah, right now we're just, we're sidelined right now. Yeah.
What about you, Daniel? Are you sideline or like do you invest in some assets?
I buy some crypto, but a lot of it's in cash right now, just because there's a lot of risk that's going on right now.
Certainty.
Yeah, a lot of
That's
uncertainty.
interesting.
But I
Okay,
think
so you guys. Yeah.
I think that just allows you, like Owen said, to move really fast. Like speed of execution is so important, and there's an opportunity, you just grab it right away, don't delay it. And I think having like really clear liquidity helps with that.
Yeah.
Aren't you
And just like,
worried of inflation and like, on banks? So you mentioned the security, the insurance, but what about inflation? Why won't you just put some money in T-bills or index funds like, S&P 500?
Yeah, I
Especially that
do.
you come from like,
Yeah, I do have some index funds. I do have some treasuries, but we still have a lot of cash sideline.
yeah, for me, it's also like the 5% or 6% or whatever we could get is like, that's not going to change my life in any like significant way. Yes, over a long period of time, it will compound and everything like that. Yes, of course, I know. But right now, my 100% of my focus is on how can we, like, rather than getting 5% extra and doing some stuff here, let's just keep it all, have a buffer, have safety to be able to do whatever we need to do and feel absolutely 100% safe about it. To how do we 10x the amount of cash flow that we're getting? How do we make 10 times more rather than how do I invest this and get 8% on whatever cash I have right now, right? And yeah, so I guess that's my reasoning.
interesting. Yeah. So I'm actually investing. I'm working on cash flow, but at the same time, I don't want to lose money through inflation, and I'm also big believer in the industry of blockchains. That's why I long Bitcoin and Ether. And I used to invest a lot in DeFi protocols, like you mentioned, and I lost a lot of money as well. This is actually how I
Yeah,
started my YouTube channel. I was teaching about DeFi protocols of like Pancake Swap and Sushi Swap and liquidity provisioning, and for me it was new terms as well because I don't come from financial background but more tech background. But I learned those things by using these protocols, like
Yep.
LPs and AMMs and stuff.
yeah,
And then I lost a lot of money, like you, Owen. So like if it's like
Yeah.
in different Ponzi's and like UST, I had a lot of UST in Anchor and Mirror, which is
Oh man.
Mirror is actually a very cool project. I don't know if the listeners are aware
Yeah.
of Mirror protocol. It was a project on Terra Luna where you can deposit UST, and they had oracles, and then you can mint on the Terra chain stocks and ETFs like Tesla stock. And it was super cool because you could like own Microsoft or Tesla on the blockchain. Super cool utility. Now, it wasn't really backed up by stocks, but it was more like perpetuals. Like there is an oracle and you need to deposit UST collateral to mint those tokens, and they had liquidity, and then everything collapsed. So there are other projects these days, by the way, which we talked before about utility and like value, on-chain value. And it's super cool because there are so many people that are unbanked or they cannot open account in interactive brokers. They just need a wallet and they can use blockchain to get exposure to stocks and invest, or T-bills even. So there is Backed Finance, which the CEO and founder is my friend. They do something similar. So they actually buy the stocks legally. They have also regulation stuff. So they buy stocks and then they mint the tokens on Ethereum, and they have liquidity and you can buy from the liquidity. So it's actually backed, not unlike Mirror, which is based on UST collateral, which is based on Terra Luna Ponzi that collapsed, which is very interesting.
Yeah, 100% in that. I mean, yeah, I think another aspect of that is probably getting burned in the past, right? So that's why I'm like, all right, screw this. I'm just holding cash. I don't trust any of this.
Definitely. So I got burned many times, but I still don't learn. I still provide sometimes liquidity but it's Uniswap, it's like, that's what I also used to say about Terra and USD, it won't collapse. It's $2 billion. It's too big to
Yeah.
collapse.
too big to
But now I'm
fail.
still providing Uniswap V3, concentrated liquidity in Bitcoin and dollars. Why? Because there is a nice yield, and why not? Let the money work a little bit. But yeah, there are always risks of like, it's risk on risk because DeFi is like Lego. So it could be a risk in Uniswap smart contracts. It could be in the Ethereum blockchain, in Solidity compiler. There's so many hidden risks when you put money in blockchain and DeFi.
Yeah. Yeah, it hurts my brain to even think about the layers of like, oh man, but what if there's a compiler level like
Yeah, and a very very interesting proof for this was like the Phantom collapsed due to multi-chain hack.
Yeah, we got
This-
got by that as well. Yeah.
You got hit by that because you had USDC on Phantom.
We had Wrap Bitcoin, we had USDC, we had DAI. Yeah.
Damn.
And we were like knee deep in, or like up to here in audits. So we weren't on Twitter or like paying attention to anything. And then I just looked and I'm like, oh,
we got out before
Yeah,
that too. But
yeah, we took like a 35% haircut or something, which is
Not too bad. You know,
Yeah.
I think if you now check and try to swap USDC to Phantom on Phantom, it's maybe you will get like 15 or 20 cents. So it would be like 80% haircut. So you weren't that late to the party.
Yeah.
I mean, I got 15% haircut for all the funds that I had in Phantom because it was pretty quick. I saw the hack and I understood that like $120 billion got stolen, and it's the whole blockchain is going to be screwed. And I also posted on Twitter right away.
Yeah,
if you have
yeah.
money on Phantom, just take it out, and I explain how to do it. Swap your
Yeah.
USDC, any token that you have, just swap it to Phantom, deposit to a centralized exchange, and swap it back. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I saved a lot of money. But it just shows how many hidden risks there are. You just hold, you didn't even stake those tokens in a DeFi protocol. You just hold them on a layer 1 blockchain that is supposed to be secure. And because the big bridge, it was like the biggest bridge, just got hacked due to whatever compromised keys. No one knows how it happened. That's it. You're screwed. So many hidden risks.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.